me what's the main job of your kidneys by show of hands, okay? Yes.
Filter.
The filter, okay. Anybody else?
I was gonna say it's a cleanser, like it cleans your blood or something like that.
Well, yes, you're on the track. It removes waste and extra fluids from your body, and I'm gonna try to, if you all want to take notes, okay? It removes waste and extra fluids from your body. They also keep your levels of salt and potassium in check, okay? And they also make hormones. They help your blood pressure and make your red blood cells. Let me get a show of hands for, what are the size of your kidneys? Do you know the size of your kidneys?
Size of your fist?
Yeah, the size of your fist, okay? And your kidneys pump, they filter a certain amount of blood every day. Does anybody know how much blood they filter every day? Okay, they filter about 200 quarts of blood every day. And they sift enough blood to fill a large bathtub.
So we got that much blood in us?
Every day. This is what your kidneys do. The common cause of kidney disease.
Too much sugar?
High blood pressure. High blood pressure. And they hurt your small blood vessels in the kidney, okay? Making it harder for them to do their job. So if you have diabetes, unused blood sugar, you can damage your kidneys. That's why most diabetics end up with kidney problems, okay? If you go into the bathroom and you're urinating a lot, that's a sign that there's something wrong with your kidneys, okay? And I'm going to keep going through. I'm going to skip some of this stuff because I'm on a time schedule. Dehydration. What's the sign of dehydration? Now, we had this in our class. But what is one of the signs of dehydration? Does anybody know?
Headache.
You thirsty?
Headache.
Headache. Okay. When your urine is dark yellow.
Oh yeah.
That's a sign. That means you're not drinking enough water. Okay, so it behooves you that when you go to the bathroom and take a look at your urine. Painkillers will hurt your kidneys. Too much of anything in your bloodstream can be bad, so those of you who are on prescription meds, I would encourage you to try to wean yourself off of them to more natural remedies because they really can damage your kidneys. Now, we understand that everything goes to the liver first, but for somehow prescription meds has a tendency to really damage the kidneys because they're the filter system. The liver has it has power to regenerate itself, so it can kind of like carry those meds through. But the kidneys are hit the hardest. So I just advise you to drink plenty of water.
So we're going to look at what can we do to use as energy. If the energy of spring is here, the energy of spring has a correlation with the liver, and the liver has a correlation with the anger, with the emotion of anger. What can we do to kind of circumvent that and help our liver out, there in turn helping out our emotions by helping out our anger as we go into the springtime. So I just would like to suggest that we keep that positive mental attitude, as they say, that PMA. We actually just remind ourselves the spring is coming, and we're right. At the same time, if we do find ourselves getting angry, right, and one way that we can tell if we may have angry issues or liver and angry issues is that where do we feel physical pain in the body, right? Because generally speaking, all those emotions that I mentioned, they do have physical symptoms. Okay, that's how the mind-body complex work. Okay, mind, emotion, body complex work. If we think a thought that's not in harmony, is out of disharmony, you know, we may feel a little certain way, but we can breathe. Man, I had that thought. I'm back at peace right now. But if we don't release it through our breath, certain techniques, and keep having the same thought, we'll build up and become dense and calcified and become physical pain within the body. And some of the emotions may drain us of our energy, like depression, sadness, we feel tired, don't want to do nothing. Same with worry, we don't think clearly, things like that. But what anger does, anger attacks us mainly in our physical body, in our shoulders, in our neck, in our back. Okay, the tension, the tightness. Generally that's a sign of anger, repressed anger that you haven't released. So, aside from just being happy, because you realize it's springtime, all this cold weather is getting behind us. We may have 1 or 2 more days coming. But if we use this weather, right, as a tool, as the springtime as a tool, embrace it, and then if we find ourselves having some type of pain or getting angry, right, there are a couple of techniques that we can do, right, besides simply breathing, taking a deep breath to release, right, which is one. That simply is breathing in through the nose and breathing out through the mouth, right? Because generally speaking, when we breathe, we're performing either 2 things. When we breathe, either we're releasing and letting go, generally out through the mouth, letting go, or we're holding in and building up. And that's generally when we release out through the nose. We tend to retain some of this energy within us as we breathe out through the nose, but still we let some out to let some back in. So we're talking about healing and bringing peace and harmony back to the body. We want to remember that we're feeling any type of anger over the next few weeks, just to let it go, right? And if that doesn't work, well, along with that, as we're breathing, there's also a acupressure point in the center, and just as you pray, right, if you put your hands in the praying position, the knuckles of your thumb, there's an indentation in the sternum, right? You find an indentation, you press your thumbs there, and breathe, press your thumbs at the indentation, about a good 2 minutes. It's actually deep releasing to help release any anger that's stored in the body. So this is an acupressure point that helps release anger. So just simply by. One of the things we want to remember also, especially as a metaphysician, right? It's a dualistic environment that we live in. And speaking from a metaphysical perspective, we have our attention and intention. Now we all know where we're divine beings, we're spiritual, we can connect. And simply just do things just because we intended to do it, we put it out there, boom, it just happened. I just meditated, I visualized it, boom, it just happened, it just did it, whatever it is. But there's also something to be said, we actually add our attention, right? And which simply just knowing the science behind that. Because when we add the science to what we're doing, together with the creative aspect, which is the right brain, the science is the left brain, the right brain more so with the heart, feeling, intention, the left brain is more so with the mind, attention, paying attention, detail, separating, analog, knowing what's going on. When you combine those things together, it's a marriage made in heaven. So you have your intention and attention on the same thing, your heart and your mind align, boom, to accomplish that goal. So again, if you're talking about just simply breathing to release your emotions, that's wonderful. But if you also say, if I press here, this has a correlation with my liver, okay, so I can actually stimulate my liver and help go into a deeper sense of relaxation and peace and balance. Then you actually go in there deeper and faster, using your attention and intention. So again, I just want to share that with you. It's spring in the spring. Use your attention and your intention, because we're all here today about health. We want to better get this physical body into balance along with our emotional and mental body, because that's our intention, that we pick up certain tools from the day from each one of us to get our attention going, some specifics going, then we can do nothing but succeed in whatever we tend to venture out.
I just want to say, first and foremost, I'm here to talk about or add to this conversation and also acknowledge the Chi Collective being just an awesome opportunity for us to bring our energy together and resonate, creating a space where we can learn from each other, also to just message each other, create a propaganda so that we can definitely tune into the messaging that we hold dear to our own value system. I know a lot of times we have access to newspapers, the news, we looking at magazines, we got family and friends, we got churches, and a lot of people who don't necessarily follow the same guidelines as we like to follow as a wellness family that is tapping into our capacity to heal ourselves. But just having this opportunity to bring ourselves together in a real condensed fashion. So there's a lot of noise pollution going on right now. And as a result of it, we're finding ourselves very exhausted, depressed, angry, not necessarily communicating with each other in a nice, polite, and loving and supportive way. Kind of on edge and trying to figure out the whole business of connecting back to the heart, which I've done the heart touch therapy, and I'm telling you, I appreciate it because it helped to release some of my old storyboards. I have things that I'm working through. We all need each other. Trust me, we have a valuable village here that is definitely going to answer every single need that we have in this marketplace. There's some messaging that's trying to get our attention and try to pull us away from ourselves and disempower us and create dependency. So in the morning when you get up, it's important to have that check-in, that meditation and check-in, even if it's 7 minutes, that's very important. There's a thing called locus of control in mental health. And locus of control pretty much talks about, and of course I'm saying this term because I got it from a mental health background, but it's not, it's limited to, it's just something that fired an interest in myself. Locus of control speaks to the degree to which an individual feels that they have control over the events in their lives. Okay? So if you live in this marketplace and you are always being impacted by the things that are around you, you don't necessarily have a core value base, then you may feel that you are out of control and you don't necessarily have the opportunity to create some of these happy feelings and stuff that we definitely need to heal ourselves. So, you know, give yourself that tune-in, check-in time in the morning before you leave, and of course, at the evening, cap it off with the same thing. So you say, what was I able to achieve? What do I want to do differently the next day? Da-da-da-da-da. So you go to bed and you can rest soundly because you absolutely want to get as much rest as you can. Try not to do too much internet, too much, you know, have yourself a ritual. You might drink tea, you might take a bath, you may say your prayers. You know, there's a lot of different things that you can do. So I want to encourage.
The foods that we eat on a regular basis, that many of us eat on a regular basis, I'm not going to say everybody, but many of us eat on a regular basis, are not necessarily the best things for us. And so, because the foods are not the best things for us, how they affect our bodies is they build up waste and build up debris in the different systems of the body. So as Darlene was talking about at the beginning of her presentation, the kidneys, you know, which is responsible for filtration of the blood. Then you also have the liver, as the chef was talking about, which is also responsible for the filtration of the blood. So those two organs of the body take a hit whenever we don't eat the foods that we're supposed to eat, which are our fresh fruits, our fresh vegetables, pretty much anything plant-based, as we just spoke about. Even herbs, in terms of quote-unquote medicinal herbs, many of them are edible. When we look at things like, for those who are familiar with these herbs, red clover, chickweed, dandelion, you know, the things that many people may consider as weeds, but these are actual edible herbs. And many of them have higher nutritional content and higher nutritional values than many of the foods that we buy in the supermarket. One of the things that tends to affect a lot of us in the springtime is seasonal allergies. So, how many of you here have seasonal allergies? Raise your hand. Okay. That's good. I'm glad there's not a lot of people in here. But I'm going to talk about it anyway, just for sake of knowledge, because we all know somebody who suffers badly with seasonal allergies. So where does the seasonal allergies come from? Were people born with them? Most of the time, no. People are not born with seasonal allergies. This is something that develops at some point in someone's life. And why it develops is because of what we just talked about, the buildup inside of our bodies. So seasonal allergies is technically classified in medical terminology as an autoimmune disease. That means that your body is actually attacking itself. So what that speaks to is that we've all heard the term or the phrase or the saying, you are what you eat. So the physical components of the food that we eat, that we're not supposed to eat, is actually generating and becoming part of our cells. So it becomes us. And our immune system is like, nah, you don't belong here. So the immune system begins to get what they call overactive. But it's not that the immune system is really overactive. The immune system is just doing what it's supposed to do, and it's targeting something that it perceives as a threat to our health. So how we go about targeting seasonal allergies is to start out by getting rid of that waste, cleansing our blood, and giving our bodies the material that it needs to generate new and healthy blood, new and healthy cells inside. Things that I want to mention nutritionally as well that you may want to focus on. So with the spring, and we're talking about our foods, the type of foods and the type of energy of spring is like a light energy. So we want to work on eating light, not eating so much heavy foods. So that's where your fresh vegetables, your fresh fruit that's in a raw state, things like Brother Kepler here prepares, you know, and the juices and things of that nature really, really come in handy in helping to fortify your system. And also allowing your digestive system, because the liver is one of the key components of the digestive system amidst the hundreds of other things it probably does. But it's a key component in your digestive process and your metabolism and converting energy. So when you're able to lighten the load on the liver by lightening the types of foods and the heaviness of the foods that you eat, then the liver is able to do that regeneration process that Darlene had mentioned earlier, and is able to really say, okay, well, let me get things moving, get all of this waste out, and then the immune system is able to function properly and not have to overcompensate. And all the vitamins technically come in a complex, even though it's not put out there like that. But all of the vitamins, I don't care if it's vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin K, even if you go to a health store and you look at the supplement section and you see vitamin D, you ain't going to just see one kind of vitamin D. You got vitamin D2 and D3, which are the most common ones. So that means that there's multiple substances that, when they're grouped together, they're called a specific vitamin. You know, so the B complex is probably the most notable in that. Knowing that there's vitamin B1 and B2 all the way up to, as far as I know, 17. You know, so, but all in all, they work towards digestion, metabolism, nervous system, regenerating new blood cells, you know, very, very important. And they tend to get compromised when we eat a lot of processed foods, in a nutshell. But in general, you may not find all of those vitamins, is what I'm saying, in one particular food. Some things do, like sea vegetables are very good sources of pretty much all of the B complex vitamins. You might find that also in like wheatgrass juice. You know, you might find that in moringa to some degree. You know, it might not have the B12, but most of the other ones will be in it. You know, so there's certain things, yeah, it's going to contain that. But for the most part, you know, it's the variety, the combinations of different foods, and particularly raw food, because when you cook it, it destroys the B vitamins, destroys the vitamin C. You know, so that's why I'm really, really advocating that. You can take supplements, but it's always better to get it from your food because you get more of a complete and balanced spectrum when you get it from your food as opposed to